Welcome to the Always Bayern Chelsea program. Today is April 6th, 2024, Saturday, and this is a program, if you haven't listened to it before, where my pal Jim and I talk about football. My name's Danny. I support the club Bayern Munich, and Jim supports Chelsea. So, this is episode 5. Today is, today was, depending on when you're listening to this, match day 28 in the Bundesliga. So we'll get a match reaction from Bayern's weak performance against Heidenheim, and we'll also get a reaction to Chelsea's electrifying comeback win against Manchester United back on Thursday. So just a couple of housekeeping items. Jim is still in Europe. He's traveling back to the States today, or actually tomorrow. So this is the last episode where you're just going to have me talking like this, and then Jim's audio clips coming in. After this, it should be more of a conversation again between the two old friends. So the other thing to mention is our last episode 4, was our first video episode. And if you want to check that out, you can go find us on YouTube. It's Always Bayern Chelsea. And if that's something that's cool or something that works, we'll do some more of those. It's definitely a lot harder to produce, but it's not something that I wouldn't want to do again. I thought it was fun. And yeah, you can also check us out on Twitter and see my thoughts during the Bayern match, Jim's thoughts during the Chelsea match. Our Twitter handle is @AlwaysBayChe, or just Always Bayern Chelsea. We're always going to try to tweet updates. And then we're also going to try to put out a Sheffield Chelsea reaction / a Arsenal Bayern Munich Champions League preview. So I'm going to try to keep things today a little bit shorter. But first of all, we're gonna talk about Chelsea and Manchester United, because man, that was a stunning match. It had everything. It was a roller coaster of a match, and unfortunately for me, I had to work late, so I didn't get to see it live, but I checked out some highlights, and I was kind of trying to follow along and understand what was happening. So just quickly, my thoughts on that late comeback win from Chelsea, with a final score of 4-3, Chelsea winning, and then we'll get some of Jim's thoughts in here too. But I thought it was awesome to see Chelsea's fight, and I thought it was awesome to see Poch's reaction after the game and the reaction from all the players. It was awesome. It showed a lot of fight, and it showed a lot of spirit, and that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from your club. I also thought that there were quite a few mistakes, I would say, from both sides, specifically defensive mistakes that led to goals. I haven't watched a lot of Manchester United this year, but I know they're dealing with some injuries. I know that their defense is, let's just say, something that's not very enjoyable to watch. But yeah, Chelsea really took advantage of some of those mistakes, and obviously the headlines, if you saw them, Cole Palmer is on a roll. He's ice cold, and he's been really the difference maker for Chelsea. And then I also thought that Mudryk, Gallagher, and Enzo were solid throughout the match, creating chances, building, which is kind of what I've seen the last couple Chelsea matches I've watched. But we'll let Jim give his full thoughts on the match here, because I got a nice juicy audio clip from Jim, so I'm gonna roll that.
Alright, now we have my official reaction to the Chelsea-Manchester United match. Just an insane match overall. I'm still feeling the effects of the match, waking up just after 9 a.m. here in the beautiful city of Bruges, Belgium. Was up late last night watching this thrilling match. I really can't say enough about how insane and psychopathic the match really was. I mean, I can't even believe it started the way it did. it ended the way it did. Even in the middle, it was crazy. It was just a wild match. And I'll try to kind of go through my thoughts as the match was going on. So I'm starting watching the match at a nice little sports bar in the heart of Bruges, Belgium. And I tell you what, a good place to watch the match, and even better, the start of the match could not have gone better for Chelsea. 4th minute, we got Conor Gallagher scoring a goal kind of off a nice cross from Gusto that bounced around a little bit, and he put it away right past Onana. A dream start to the match. Could not ask for a better start. And I thought Chelsea looked pretty aggressive to start, as did United. You could tell it was kind of going to be one of those frenetic type matches, as both teams like to play. Chelsea was certainly taking advantage of the spotty Man U defense. As most of us know, they really don't play very much defense, and Chelsea early looked like they were going to be attacking quite often. Then they kind of settled in a little bit. I thought both teams were creating some chances. Both were looking pretty aggressive. Mudryk finds that nice little through ball to Cucurella, who draws a pen, and we're off once again. Didn't even go to VAR, which I loved to see, so you knew it was a pen. Cole Palmer steps up. I'm not even thinking he's going to miss. I don't know if he's ever going to miss. The guy is crazy cold, stone cold Cole Palmer. Puts it away. Onana has no chance, as we know. And then from there, you're kind of worried because unfortunately Chelsea love to bottle leads. They love it. It's insane how much they love it. And bottle is exactly what they did. As I'm looking here at 2 fine Belgian beer bottles in front of me. It's crazy what Chelsea can do when they have the lead. So they proceed to allow 2 more goals in the first half. Garnacho's, boy, what a mistake by Caicedo. I mean, you just cannot make mistakes like that, and it's kind of been the story of Chelsea lately, just giving up these goals through mistakes that they make themselves. Simple human error mistakes that we're talking about here. Caicedo had one of those brain fart moments. Garnacho made him pay. And then a little later, they counter quickly, and Fernandez gets an easy header. And I just don't understand what Chelsea must be thinking in these moments. Whether it's coaching that's led them astray, whether it's individual stupidity that has led them astray, either way, it's not a good sign. And I'm kind of, at this point, leaning towards the fact that it might not just be that they're young. I get when you're young, you make these mistakes sometimes, but they're professionals at this point, and it's happening too often that you have to question something. So that kind of caps off a crazy, crazy first half. Good environment in this bar in Bruges, and the owner was nice. There were some fans there. Liverpool, Sheffield United was on. Good first half. We walked home to our Airbnb at halftime. I decided I was going to watch the rest of the game on my cellular device. Probably a good choice because most of the second half was abysmal for me as a Chelsea fan. They just come out flat every time there's after a break. And I, once again, don't get it. It's got to be down to coaching. I don't want to get too harsh on Poch here, but I had some dark thoughts about him for sure in the second half. Garnacho scores a third goal, and it's looking like it's going to be over. Beautiful ball, by the way, on the inside of his left foot by Antony, who I hate, to Garnacho, who puts it away, who I hate. Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful goal. Chelsea just lack the defensive capability and fundamental awareness of how to defend teams, and it's maddening. They're just like United. They both give teams so much space on the open field. And it's frustrating to watch because you know things are going to go wrong. You know exactly how things are going to end up and that it's not going to be good for them. So they go down 3-2. Things are looking rough. And the second half, the rest of it was just a lot of chances that they could have, a lot of defensive lapses that it looked like they'd give up more goals. Just crazy play. There were some times where the Sassi would be bringing the ball through the middle of the field as if he was an attacker. Harry Maguire, the same thing. And it was crazy. You got all these players out of position, frenetic pace, back and forth. Just really a crazy game. I've said it 1,000 times, but that's exactly what it was. The game felt like it was on crack. Don't do drugs, kids. So we're sitting down a goal, and we're thinking, oh boy, Poch is going to get a lot of talk after this game. The owners are going to get talk, the players, everyone. Europe's not even part of the question anymore. And then, from the shadows of death, in comes Noni Madueke. Late in the game, 86th minute, I believe, somehow draws up a miracle penalty that the ref gives in the 99th minute. And we're thinking, oh my goodness, what does this come to? This is insane. 8 minutes of extra time, and we're in this last extra minute. And who else but cold Cole Palmer steps up, smashes it in the exact spot of the first one, puts it away. And that is how things are done at Chelsea. We finish things. Cole Palmer, what a man. Now we're drawn. 3-3. All right, we'll take a point at this time. But guess what? They're not going to give up till the last possible second, till that whistle blows. Poch is out there motivating them, telling them, go get that last goal. They're pressing up on them. They get a corner. All of a sudden, they take a short corner. It's to Palmer. He turns, and he just lets loose. Doesn't even care where it's going. He fires it as fast as he can, and it's deflected by McTominay into the goal. I mean, what a strike. Technically at McTominay, but directly on line with the goal, and it fires right in. That's how you know you have a player that wants it, that desires it, and goes for goal at every possible moment, and I loved to see it. And it was pandemonium inside the stadium. You could tell, even from watching on my phone. I was laying in bed watching, and there was pandemonium in the bed. It was insane. To get that win was quite frankly a miracle, and I couldn't have been happier in the moment. I tell you what, it's quite a way to have my time here in Bruges, the beautiful city, the beautiful country of Belgium. Sitting here drinking a nice coffee, eating a beautiful French croissant. Boy, what a win for Chelsea. I hope this gives them momentum. I hope it makes the fans closer to Poch and the rest of the team. And I hope it gives them just the juice they need to march on and get a top 8 spot for Europe place next season.
Okay, and then finally, there's one more audio clip coming in here from Jim about the Enzo and the Mount kind of butting of the heads. I guess the drama, the almost fight. I guess I don't know what you want to call it. The exchange of words that happened at the end of Chelsea and Manchester United. I loved to see the fire from Enzo. I think that's what you want out of your players, and I think that Jim would agree with that. So we're gonna play his additional audio note to that.
Putting in this quick new audio after seeing the Enzo Fernandez Mason Mount situation, I can't say enough about how much it means to me and how much I love seeing what Enzo was saying to Mason Mount. Mason Mount, we don't know for sure what the situation was when he left Chelsea, whether it was more his fault, the club's fault. I'm sure in actuality it was a mix of the two, but it just seems like there's some bad blood between Mason and some of the Chelsea players that are still there that were with him when he was at Chelsea. And frankly, I'm obviously going to side with those Chelsea players now. Enzo apparently calling him a coward multiple times, as well as the four-letter C word that I'll wish to not utter on this podcast. I just love everything about that. The fire, the passion, the willingness to say those words to Mason the way he did when the team goes up 4-3 against Man United. That's all I'm asking for out of my players. Showing the fight, the determination. It's what any fan wants to see out of their players. And I couldn't be more proud to call Enzo Fernandez a true Chelsea player through and through.
Okay, and now Chelsea prepares to take on Sheffield. So we're gonna hope that Chelsea's able to kind of continue something good here and get another win. That would be ideal for them. All right, so now is the time to talk about Bayern Munich, and I'm fresh off the match right now, so I'm gonna try to not be super pissed or super dejected, I guess, but it really is frustrating to see a team at this point in the season play like they don't really know what they're doing, play like the coaching is uncertain, or I don't know how you don't know what you have at this point with certain lineup changes and certain spacing issues that you see when you watch the match, certain I guess unwillingness to fight. And I will be the first to admit I'm not big on the X's and O's of soccer. I don't really know that much, but I do know that watching that match at this point in the season, Bayern should not be looking like that. They should not look like they're just still figuring things out. And as I think I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it ended up with a 3-2 loss. So Heidenheim took down Bayern today, 3-2. Bayern still has 60 points, and Stuttgart and Dortmund, who are playing right now against each other. That match looks like it's 0-0. Sorry, I just had to pull that up. They're playing against each other. They are kind of on Bayern's tail for second place in the Bundesliga tables. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. And obviously Leverkusen, who won again today, is now 16 points ahead of Bayern and will clinch the Bundesliga next week with a win. So I don't think anybody on Bayern is thinking about the Bundesliga anymore. I think everybody is just thinking about Arsenal in the Champions League, which is Tuesday. And honestly, I don't know how Bayern wins that. I like to try to be optimistic and positive about my team, but it's just hard for me to see how they win that. So we'll kind of see what happens. Maybe they'll bounce back, and then we'll have a little bit of hope. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough to advance very far in the Champions League with this kind of play right now. So the match started out with Heidenheim kind of playing this gridlock lockdown defense where Bayern was dominating the possession. If I had to guess, I bet it was something like 70-30 in the first half. But for much of the first half, Bayern kind of couldn't really break through the defense of Heidenheim. And I will say it looked like they were building. They were kind of starting to get chances. And then at the end of the half, you had a goal from Harry Kane, who else, and a beautiful header from Serge Gnabry. So Bayern went into halftime up 2-0, and it looked like they had kind of figured things out. It looked like they were rolling. And then in the second half, Heidenheim came out with a completely different style, and credit to them, they really wanted it. They came out aggressive, and they kind of caught Bayern sleeping which shouldn't happen to a team like Bayern. But either way, Heidenheim came out and got 2 very fast goals and kind of off of the counterattack, which Bayern is notoriously bad this season at defending. So Stuttgart scored 2 goals right away and then scored a third one, and after that it was pretty much over. Because of Heidenheim's more aggressive play, that led for more chances for Bayern. They had a lot of chances in the second half. Kane had a couple of narrow misses. There were a couple of good saves, and yeah, when that third goal went in, it seemed like all hope was lost. So it's a bit of a big letdown for the Bavarians, especially trying to build something positive going into Arsenal here on Tuesday. But now I'm just gonna kind of go through my overall player ratings as I did last time, and as I'm gonna try to do going forward. This is how I'm rating each player's performance on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being average, basically. So we'll start with Sven Ulrich, who is in between the sticks, as I've been saying, again, because Manuel Neuer is still injured. Hope he plays versus Arsenal. We need him versus Arsenal. But yeah, I'm giving Sven a 5 again, kind of what I expected to see out of him. The goals that Heidenheim scored weren't really his fault. They were just complete defensive breakdowns, and maybe he could have saved one of them. Maybe Neuer would have saved one of them. But Sven also had at least one, maybe 2 really nice saves that I can think of off the top of my head. So it's a 5 from him. And then on the defensive side, left back, Alphonso Davies started. I think Rafael Guerreiro, he was available today and was subbed in. I don't think he was all the way healthy. I'm giving Davies a 5. I've talked enough about how I feel about Davies' performances for Bayern lately, but he had 1 assist, so I'm bringing him to a 5. But the rest of the match, he was poor, if you ask me. I think his spacing was really poor. I don't think he hustled on defense, and things like that kind of lead up to goals. So, and then Joshua Kimmich is right back. I'm going to give him a 7. He seemed like he controlled things pretty well. He had a couple of nice crosses and, potential assists. But yeah, he didn't completely blow me away. Although, again, I think he's doing well at right back, and I hope that he stays there. And then the center backs today, we had the change of Upamecano and Kim Min-jae instead of Eric Dyer and Matthijs de Ligt. As I had kind of predicted in the preview podcast, if you want to listen to that, episode 4, Tuchel switched out our center backs today to kind of see what he has there and then make a decision for Arsenal. But I was really disappointed with Upamecano overall. He seemed like he was all over the place. Maybe this is coaching tactics, maybe this is players, but I'm giving him a 4 today. He definitely did not play up to his potential and just seemed kind of lost, if you ask me. I hope he doesn't play against Arsenal. I hope that it is Kim Min-jae and Matthijs de Ligt, as I've been hoping for a while now. I hope that's our center back combination. Kim, I'm going to give a 7. He seemed a little bit more consistent and just kind of sure of himself and sure of his positioning. He didn't really blow me away with anything, but I thought he was just solid today, so he gets a 7 from me. I don't know. There's just a lot to talk about with Bayern's defense and also the midfield. I'm just going to say I don't think it's completely coaching and I don't think it's completely players, but I think that there's blame to go around on both ends of that spectrum. Now moving up to the midfield, Konrad Laimer, I'm giving a 5. I don't really know how he fits at Bayern. I think there's a good chance he's going to be sold over the summer. I didn't think he was bad today. I just thought he wasn't really a factor. And that's just kind of a bummer. It's a bummer that Pavlovic is still trying to recover from tonsillitis because we need him against Arsenal. That's all I'll say about that. We just need him against Arsenal. Goretzka, I'm giving a 6. I thought he looked a little bit better today than he did last match, but not as good as I would want to see him. There were a couple of good passes and good setups from Goretzka today that I was pleased with. I think that he plays better as a midfielder in this role where he kind of drops back and plays defense like he had been doing during Bayern's 3-match hot streak. I hope that Tuchel kind of puts him in that position again because that's where I think he's been doing better, and it's unfortunate to see things change. Maybe Pavlovic allows him to do that more, but we'll see. And then, the attack was kind of interesting today. You had Gnabry on the left, Muller on the right, and Musiala in the center, and then Kane as the striker. I guess we can start with the positive. Serge Gnabry, goal and assist, I believe, today. And he's been just lights out amazing since coming back from injury. There's an argument to be had because of how well he's played that you maybe start him over Leroy Sané if Sané is healthy against Arsenal. So I'm going to give Gnabry, I have an 8 written down here, maybe a 9 though. I mean, just the way he played today was great. I mean, as far as scoring contributions goes, I don't know. I mean, maybe he could have done a little bit more towards the end there, but yeah, Gnabry has an 8. And then I guess in the center, Jamal Musiala, I'm going to give him a 5. He, I think, is better as a right winger. I don't like it when he's not on the wing, but he had a couple of good moments today where he was, doing his typical magician dribbling through the defense, but he couldn't really put anything away. Muller, I'm going to give a 6. There were spots of brightness from him today, but overall he didn't do anything to really affect the match. And then Harry Kane, I'm going to give an 8. Kane scored again. Kane narrowly missed, I think, 3 chances in the second half. I don't know where this team would be without Harry Kane. He seems like one of the few players who is just completely impactful every match and is doing everything he can to put balls away and to just carry this team as far as he possibly can. So Kane gets an 8. If he would have put away a couple more of those chances, we're looking at a 9 or a 10. And then briefly, I just want to talk about a couple of subs because there were some interesting notes to be had about the subs. Tell came in and had a couple of chances. I'm giving Tell a 7. I like him a lot. I mean, I think he's a difference maker, and I get excited to see his number called. So he couldn't put anything away, unfortunately, but he has that fighting spirit, and he almost had a couple of goals in this one. Chupo came in too. I'm going to give him a 6. Some good things, kind of like last time, but just not a difference maker. Guerrero came in at the end. I'm going to give him a 5 just because he was hardly in the match and, was fine but didn't really do anything. And then the interesting sub-choice at the very end there was Zaragoza, who has not played at all. I think he's maybe played 2 minutes in one other match for Bayern coming over from Spain. I'm going to give him a 7. He had a couple of really good chances. One of them was just a nice save. He kind of blew by the defense, and for the short time that he was in, he made a positive impression. And man, I hope that he at least suits up for matches. There's a lot of rumors about, Tuchel not liking him at all, not wanting him even on the team. So he's not really been a factor. But I'm interested to at least see what we got from him. And, maybe now with the Bundesliga officially, potentially next week, officially being over, hopefully we see a little bit more from him. So those are my thoughts on the Bayern Munich Heidenheim disaster, I guess you could say. That second half was tough to watch. That was one of the hardest halves of football I've ever had to watch as a Bayern fan. So we look ahead to Arsenal now, and I am going to give a preview of that match with Jim, ideally, once Jim comes back, as well as a Chelsea-Sheffield breakdown. So be on the lookout for that. Listen to us on the podcast places, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and check out the Twitter. We've been pretty active on Twitter, at AlwaysBayChe, Always Bayern Chelsea. Check out the YouTube. I guess if you liked the video episodes, maybe we'll do some more of those, maybe comment or something like that. If you like it, let us know, because like I said, it's a little bit harder to produce, but I'm not opposed to it. So yeah, not much else to say about that match, honestly. I am going to go on a hike and probably plant some vegetables for the spring here, and try to forget about that one. So thank you for listening. As always, go Bayern.